Hey y'all, it's Melissa at Twin Oaks Family Farm in rural Southeast Ohio, USA. Going to do a quick update on my 21-day lifestyle change, 21-day challenge to myself to eat real food. We talk about that frequently here in our poultry operation, that it's important to spread the message to people, to support local agriculture wherever local is for you, and for all of us as individuals to eat real food. Right there is our little poultry barn where we actually raise Cornish rock cross meat chickens for poultry production. So we have a flock in production now. When they're 37 days old, they'll go to a USDA inspected processor. And being in touch with raising production agriculture livestock that is for meat production is really the underpinning of what puts us, for my family here as a household, in touch with an awareness and appreciation for what we call real food. Food that is minimally processed, that is easily traced to its source, that is recognizable as coming from its actual source, and food that when it goes into our bodies makes us feel good. And we are just as immersed in American culture as anybody living here in our country. So we all know that what's prevalent in our groceries and our markets is highly processed food. And it's really, really tough to even have an awareness that a lot of those products are really food-like rather than real food. And it's even double tough compared to that to distance ourselves from food that is highly processed. I'm gaining an awareness and recognition of the concept that when I go into a typical American grocery store, there is very little in the inside aisles and middle of the store that I want to bring home and serve myself or prepare for my family and serve to them. Because when you look at ingredient labels, A, there's a lot of things on there I can't pronounce. B, there's a lot of things on there I don't even know what it is. I feel like it's jargon for something that may be masking an ingredient that if I really knew what it was, I wouldn't want it, wouldn't want to serve it to my family. And there are a lot of recognizable additives that are detrimental to us. Food dyes, preservatives, just things that are not real food and that really don't help our bodies. So 2 days prior to recording this, I started a 21-day lifestyle change for myself to really implement that concept that I talk about a lot of eat real food into my life. For one thing, when I get up in the mornings, I don't feel good. I can't move well. It takes my body a long time to get going. I don't want the answer to be pills and powders, potions, and medicine, modern medicine. If it is going to be medicine, I want it to be tried and true, that comes from something real, from a source that is a plant or an animal, something that is a food that goes into my body and heals from the inside out so that I can be well and feel better and have energy and be able to know, the days that I don't feel as good. Oh, it's not because it's self-induced. It's not because of something I'm putting into my body. So I'm taking a walk now, trying to get a mile in today. Actually gonna try to get 2 miles in today, because I kind of have this mindset that I can make up something that I missed. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. That's the way life is. But I missed walking a mile on day 2 of my big change because I felt crummy. So on that note, wanted to tell you, how is it going? So day 1, I felt great. It was kind of like, for one thing, that kind of high of I'm doing something new, it's going to be really great for me, I can see the long view, and this is going to make me feel so good. And then I walked a mile as part of day 1, in addition to changing what I was consuming, putting into my body, and it was warm, and I think I got a little too warm, and I started in with a headache. And then as I tried to fast into the second day, I ended up with what you have called an ocular migraine. If you know, you know. If you get them and know what they are, they're pretty miserable. It's not necessarily a high, terrible degree of pain, but it can end up with visual disturbances. So as I was trying to do like kind of about a 14-hour fast, about 11 hours in or so, I had a little bit of blackout in my left eye, which I know is from the ocular migraine. So, you know, I know how to cope with it, but I went ahead and ate and ended up eating something that was starchier, carbier than I wanted to eat in general with my overall plan. But I had macaroni and cheese on day 2, but that was the low point. And then today, day 3, I feel much better. I feel much better. I felt better in the morning, first thing when I woke up, not as much inflammation and not as much soreness and not as much stiffness and more energy, feel, you know, like clearer thinking even. And I think it's just a great thing. So what have I been doing, not doing to kind of get through that process? Well, what I've been eating has basically been chicken broth based and adding vegetables to it, fresh herbs, and I did have fruit, and just making sure beverages is just tea or water. And I have been adding honey or cane sugar to the tea, but no soda. And for me, that is the biggest accomplishment. I love Dr. Pepper, love Dr. Pepper. So for me to forego Dr. Pepper for a couple days is really a huge deal. And I haven't had Dr. Pepper since Sunday. It's now Wednesday. This is May 15th, 2024, by the way. So some other things that have gone along with it that surprised me. I was able to take that same sense of ordering things and being mindful and having a purpose and channel it into other things I've been wanting to do. So simple things. I've been wanting to make time to go to the library. I finally did that. The day 1 of this self-proclaimed lifestyle change. So, you know, I made time for it. I've got a to-do list today that it's things I've been struggling with, but like today I feel like I can take this on. I can handle this. Just a to-do list of communications and things to get ordered. I'm going to show you the chickens as we're walking by. This is, let's see, that pen is the production reds, and this pen is basically our older flock, mostly Isa Browns like those gals there, but also 12 young hens. So starting with this white one, white feathered one, and then that group right there, there's a dozen of them, and there's a leghorn further back. So the 12 young ones aren't laying yet, but like these Isa Browns, they are our egg production flock for egg sales. So so like I said, so the first 3 days of the lifestyle change has been a little bit of a roller coaster. Day 1 really felt good about what I was taking on. Day 2, I felt like mud. I mean, I felt bad enough. I tried to record an update and couldn't even do it. And I resisted the temptation for pizza on Tuesday evening, but I can't credit myself entirely with that, because the honest truth was I felt crummy enough. I didn't even want it. So, but I think the flip side that's going to happen as I go on with this is I'm not going to want starchy, heavy foods, simply because my body's going to pick up on that innate recognition that those foods don't make me feel good. They don't make me feel good. So today so far, I've had 2 hamburger patties. I did go ahead and put a little bit of shredded cheese on them. Shredded cheese is actually a product I'm trying to get away from. A pet peeve I'm having with shredded cheese is I've noticed the anti-caking agent that's being used in it is powdered cellulose. And that I just have a hard time with that, because when I think of cellulose, I think of wood shavings. And when I think of wood shavings, I think of the bedding that we put down in the poultry barn. So I want to get away from that, but we have a little bit of shredded cheese in the fridge we're kind of trying to use up. So maybe I can get block cheese and just grate it, because we will still use cheese in our household, I'm sure. But I've had the 2 hamburger patties, a little bit of cheese on them, and I've had some black tea that had lemon in it, and I've had some chamomile tea, and I have my chicken broth heated up that is gonna get me through part of the afternoon, and then I'll have a reasonable supper, and I'll have good portions with it. I hope it'll be vegetables and maybe meat, but not gonna include bread or anything like that with it. And I'm gonna be able to resist the soda today. I can do it, I feel it. So if you're trying a lifestyle change, tell us about it. If you're trying a lifestyle change, I think going with small goals is really helpful. So like today, that's I'm focusing on the goals here on day 3 of just sticking with food that's not highly processed, and sticking with using the chicken broth and avoiding soda. I'll let myself have tea or water for beverages, and trying to get actually 2 miles in of walking today, just to get even just the fresh air. It's going to be a slow walk, but just to get the fresh air and the sunshine. So that's a blessing in itself. Gonna turn the camera around and finish up here on one of my favorite views. And so as I'm taking my walk, I've got to make about 5 circuits here to make a mile. So as I make this mile, this is one of the views that I get to see. It's right here at my own home place. But what I'm doing with the chicken broth, I want to tell you, is like I'm just taking about 28 ounces a day, and if I can use it in like a soup where I add things to it, I'll just eat it like a dish at a meal, but like maybe 12 to 14 ounces at a time. But if I'm not gonna have soup for a meal, I'm going ahead and boiling that chicken broth on the stovetop and putting it in an insulated tumbler, and it'll keep it hot for like 4 or 5 hours plus. So then I'll just sip on that through the afternoon and evening. But recently I had read that chicken broth itself, great protein, full of collagen, great for the health of our gut, and so helping us heal from the inside out. And I thought to myself, that's accessible for me, that's something I can do, I'm gonna try that. So gonna turn the camera around, finish up with my favorite view here at our little place, Twin Oaks Family Farm in rural Southeast Ohio, USA. Thanks for joining me. I know we have low-key videos, not fancy, not a lot of editing, not a lot of bling to them, but that's just how we roll. That's what we like. It is low-key, but it's real life, and this is really a lifestyle change for me in real time, in real life. And I appreciate you joining our channel here at Twin Oaks Farm Poultry on YouTube. We are from rural Southeast Ohio, USA, and proud to be involved in American production agriculture, producing real good chicken and farm fresh eggs. So thanks for joining us. My home was in there as the camera panned around. There's a little set of 4 trees we tried there a few years ago just to see if trees would work there. And this is one of my favorite views here. This is our twin oak trees. They were planted 24 years ago, and we actually planted 20 some at the time, and these were the only 2 that survived. And each year we try to plant some more oak trees as we get closer. I'll leave those and show you a couple of the baby oak trees, but those are the twin oaks that our little family farm operation is named for, and they're 24 years old. They're beautiful, starting to make acorns. And here is a baby oak tree. So that one's a 2-year-old oak tree, as is this one here. It just happened to be taller as it started. So the twin oaks, and hopefully we'll have some of these other oaks grow up and join them. But thanks for joining us